There's basically 3 good reasons you might be interested in watching this video. First of all, you have a small YouTube fishing channel, but you're not yet monetized because you don't have 1,000 subscribers, and you're looking for a different way to earn money for the videos that you're making. Or number 2, you have a bigger channel, you are monetized by YouTube, but you're looking for a way to diversify your income streams and bring in even more money if possible. And 3, you don't have a fishing channel at all, but you do watch mine and you're curious to see what changes I'm gonna make to my Patreon setup for this upcoming season in 2023. I suppose there's a 4th possibility. Maybe you just like listening to the sound of my voice and you'll watch any video, even if I'm not talking about anything interesting, but that seems much less likely, to be honest. But whatever the reason is, stick around because I'm gonna explain how I use Patreon to help monetize my channel, both before I became monetized and after. And then yes, I will talk about the changes that I'm making in 2023 to my own Patreon tiers. So Patreon basically started as a way for creators to monetize or get compensated for some sort of creative product that they were making. There was a lot of artists that used it, there was a lot of musicians that used it. And if they didn't have or didn't want to go through the traditional sign a contract with a label sort of thing, this was another way that they could, leverage their audience to help them continue to do what they're doing and earn money. So I obviously noticed this Patreon thing on some other YouTube creators that I watched, and I thought, is there any reason I can't do this for a fishing channel? And I couldn't see a reason why I shouldn't. So I decided to go that route because at the time I wasn't yet monetized by YouTube. I wasn't earning YouTube money, but that was a route that I wanted to go. And I thought maybe this is a way I could get a jump on that because I did have a decent, if not small, established audience that might be interested in helping me out. So Patreon basically works by subscription tiers. So you could set up a different tier with a different price that has a different amount of perks that it offers. But a big part of Patreon really is just trying to support a creator. So a lot of the people that do subscribe as a patron on Patreon are just trying to help somebody out. Nevertheless, I decided to set up 3 tiers at the beginning. One was a $3 tier, which was just kind of, hey, if you just want to give me $3 to help me do what I'm doing, I'd appreciate it. The other was a $9 tier, which was very similar, but I wanted to offer a little bit of something of value in that sense. So I threw in stuff like you can help provide video ideas and you can vote on video idea concepts and that sort of thing to offer a little more engagement. But then since I was running a fishing channel, I wanted to do something a little more unique that did offer a little extra value for a higher tier. And what I came up with was doing super in-depth fishing reports for Lake Sakakawea, which is the lake that I guide on. So this isn't something that everybody could necessarily do if they set up Patreon just because they have a fishing channel. You probably either need to be a fishing guide or you need to at least fish a lake or an area super extensively so that you have a little bit of credibility in this realm to offer fishing reports. But it is a good idea of something that you can kind of think outside of the box for, what are the sorts of perks that you can offer? Because, a lot of people do the things like I mentioned before, recognition, mentioning their name, allowing them to interact with the group somehow. There's a messaging feature on Patreon, so people can send me messages and I can respond to them, or they can drop comments on the different posts that I make and stuff like that. Other people will send little, some kind of physical gift or token. Maybe they'll send a signed book if they're an author. Maybe they'll send a signed, a painting or something if they're a painter, right? But for me, this was the thing that I thought made the most sense in what I put out there. And to be completely honest, I didn't really know if a lot of people would take me up on this, if they would find value in that and decided to sign up, but I was pleasantly surprised. So I had nobody sign up for the $3 tier, which is probably a good thing. It made me feel like they determined that my channel was more valuable than $3 a month, so I thought that was pretty cool. There was a couple, 2 or 3 people that signed up for the $9 tier, but most of them signed up for the $25 tier and got the fishing reports. And a lot of the feedback that I got was, yes, they liked the fishing reports, but also they just wanted to support the channel. So there was a healthy amount of thank you for what you do with your fishing videos. We just want to help you out. But there definitely were some people that just signed up because they wanted the fishing reports. So that's the one key thing. So if you're gonna set up a Patreon, you need an audience of people that is engaged with your channel, that watches, that might sign up to Patreon, right? You can search for creators in Patreon, so people could just go to Patreon themselves and search for people and creators that they want to support. But more than likely, you need to bring an audience to Patreon to make this work. And in order to do that, you got to be offering some kind of value. So at a bare minimum, your videos have to be good and your videos have to offer value to people, or you won't have the audience to begin with. and they certainly won't consider giving you money on Patreon to do it. But again, like I said, I wanted to offer something above and beyond that if they were going to sign up for a higher tier of Patreon, and fishing reports made a lot of sense to me. Since I didn't really know how many people were going to sign up, I did price them pretty darn cheap at the outset. So for $25 a month, I mean, I typically, if somebody comes up to me on the lake and they don't want to get a guided trip, but they just want some pointers where to go in the right direction, I usually charge at least $100 for something like that to give them some spots or some waypoints. So for $25 a month to get, on average, probably 3 posts a week that are super in-depth. And I'm not talking about like, you know, the bite's good in 10 to 20 feet of water with minnows. Like, I'm talking about types of presentations we're using, trolling speed that we're using, the types of spots we're fishing, flats, points, deep drops, bays, main lake, even exact particular spots, patterns during time of day when the bite windows are. It's very extensive stuff, so I see why people signed up for it now and why they think that there's value out of it. But I didn't know what to price it at, started it pretty low. It's probably a steal. I'm not gonna change it for next year. It is what it is. You're welcome. $25 a month, fishing reports. Gonna continue for the next season. So these are the tiers that I came up with. It ended up working out pretty well, probably better than I expected, and it went a long ways to helping me continue to run my channel and continue to help me run my business. So I really appreciate the people that sign up for that. Thank you so much once again. And if you do want to see exactly how much money I did make on that, I broke that down in a different video, and I'll put a little thumbnail down here for that video in case you want to see that. I'll also link it in the description of this video. It breaks down all the money that I made YouTube and YouTube adjacent, if that's something you're interested in. But I can tell you, in short right now, it was definitely way more money than I made even once I got monetized by YouTube with ad revenue sharing, for sure. So I'm glad that I did it in the long run. And that's kind of why I'm making this video, in case anybody else is interested in doing it as well. In terms of the nitty-gritty details of how to set up Patreon, I'm not gonna get totally into that. I'm not gonna make this a tutorial video, but I can tell you it's fairly easy. Basically, all you need to do is put a little bit of branding on there, a little bit about what it is you do and what sort of value you hope to add to people that sign up, and then you build your tiers. And then when people log into Patreon on your page, they basically see the different tiers and see what the description is of the tiers and what perks and benefits they get from that tier, and decide which one they want to pick to support you as a creator. And speaking of those tiers, now we're going to talk about what I'm going to do different for 2023. So since this was pretty successful for me and I was very happy with it, I'm definitely going to continue doing it. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna delete the $3 tier, because I figured if after the first year nobody signed up for that, everybody wanted to help out with at least the $9 or the $25, then I don't know, I'm just gonna take it off the page. The fishing reports, as I said, I'm gonna keep the same. It's gonna be $25 a month for fishing reports. I'm gonna continue to post them as often as I did, and hopefully do them as well as I did the year before. So if you got value out of that last year, it's gonna be around this year. And the reason why I think these fishing reports make some sense is because imagine you own your own boat, you want to do it yourself, you don't want to hire a guide, but at the same time, you only have a few days to fish. And Lake Sakakawea is pretty massive. Lots of lakes are pretty massive. You want to get a good head start and a good starting point to maximize your time on the water. This should give you an idea of where to go to get on fish pretty quickly, so you don't have to spend so much time banging your head against the wall or the gunnel of your boat. But the new thing that I wanted to do, I decided to add a new tier for a couple different reasons. One, fishing reports, for me anyway, don't last all year round because I don't ice fish up there. So I wanted to give you something that offers value all year round for all 12 months, because some people sign up just for fishing reports for 6 or 7 months and then they drop off and then they come back on, and that's totally fine. It's kind of what I expected. But also, the fishing reports are very specific and local to Lake Sakakawea and the surrounding area. I do talk about Lake Audubon once in a while. If I make it up to Devil's Lake, I talk about Devil's Lake, but if you don't fish that area, they're of no value to you. So I wanted to come up with something that's valuable to anybody that watches a YouTube fishing channel, something that's basically an extension of what I do here to further your education, for lack of a better word. So the new tier is basically one-on-one consultation, for lack of a better phrase. So it can be anything from, you could bring a contour map and we could break down that map for you to give you a good starting point of where it's most likely to find walleyes the next time that you go out there, whether you're open water fishing or ice fishing. Maybe you want to review your gear to make sure that you got the right stuff to get those walleyes in the boat. Maybe you want to review your boat to sort of optimize your experience while you're out on the water. or maybe you just want further advice on fishing Lake Sakakawea or any other lake. Whatever it is that you can come up with, that's what this tier offers. Any time of year, you basically get access to up to 1 session per month, an hour long. We can do it over the phone, we can do it over some kind of Skype, sort of FaceTime, whatever you want to do. If you're in the local area, perhaps we can meet up in person. That could work also. And in terms of pricing for this tier, we're going $49. Why $49? Part psychology of numbers and partly because of my history as a 49ers fan when I was a kid. That's about it. And I figure if somebody does use all of these sessions, $50 per hour for a session is a fairly reasonable price, but also it's not so high that if for some reason you don't decide to use all the sessions throughout the entire year, if you only do once or twice or 3 times, you're still not paying through the nose for something that you don't use all the time. So it seemed to be a pretty good balance. And of course, you're still getting access to the fishing reports on top of that because you get everything that the lower tiers have. So $50 a month, sorry, $49 a month for fishing reports plus one-on-one consultation if there's something you want to chit chat about. That's what the new tier is. All year round, 12 months a year, 365 days a year, 66 if there's a leap year. You get the point. Or if these one-on-one sessions maybe are appealing to you, but you don't like the idea of paying monthly to get this option, I do now offer it as a service on my website. It's obviously a better discount if you do it through Patreon, but if you do want to do one-on-one session as kind of a one-off thing, that's a lot of ones there. I offer that on my website, so you can check it out there on the contact page at bloomendaalfishing.com. So that's what's new for my Patreon in 2023, and that's how I used it to help monetize my fishing channel. But before I close, I just wanted to make one comment and re-emphasize a point that, in all honesty, the title of this video is a little misleading because Patreon did not help monetize my YouTube channel. You helped monetize my YouTube channel. Firstly, by watching videos, and secondly, for the people that actually signed up for Patreon. So like I said before, if you don't have an audience that cares about what you're doing, Patreon does nothing for you. So if you do have an audience that cares, Patreon could be another avenue to give people that opportunity that would consider helping to support your channel. So thanks so much for all of you that did. Look forward to having some of you back, returning patrons, and maybe more in 2023. And we'll see you later, fisher people.